So now we're going to discuss the social network infrastructure. The URL for this will be homeworld.org, and this is basically what we're calling now the Planetary Empowerment Network, and it is used for our social activist membership, those people who want to actually do something about government, corporations, and media. So we have kind of a master grid, and in this master grid, we have two major sections here, corporate and media, and also the third, which is really important, government. In government, we have three branches, the executive, Congress, and judicial. You need to think what a network would be like that would allow people to do the important collaborative processes that we are suggesting that will enable us to be able to effectively vote for what we want, encourage our corporations to take a more interested approach in their customers and their shareholders, and to get media to be more responsive to doing their job in reporting the truth. But this is a complex thing. Look at LinkedIn and Facebook as examples. I think they're examples of elaborate interactive networks. There are others, but these particular two are ones that I think have gripped both the business and personal interests of people. In order to go ahead and work together, the first thing that you have to do is talk to each other. And that can be a rather elaborate process when you're talking about things of this nature. Probably the forum will exist on the website directly, not within this particular structure, but I'm not sure of that, because the website will be addressing issues in a more general way. And when they get perhaps narrow enough to be able to utilize this structure, it will be because we want to actually do something. We want to communicate something. We want to get voters together. We want to create media presentations. We want to talk to corporate officers about specific things for which we'll need presentations. So how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, I think I want you to note the different grids we have. Grid 1, which is for contacts, with things, these are basically who you're going to contact. Phone numbers, emails, this type of thing. So we're dealing with, in the U.S. government, we might be talking about senators. We might be talking about the White House. We might be talking about government agencies. We may be talking about people in the judicial area, House of Representatives. So we'll have a list of contacts, congressmen and senators, department heads, so forth. Now, in order to do this effectively, sometimes we need to do mail-outs to a whole bunch of people. We need to have group calls. We need individual calls. We might need to deal with a committee. So in this case, we're dealing, in grid number 2, we're dealing with groups of people. And those groups of people, mostly we'd like to contact them together, but sometimes we'll have to contact them separately in some fashion, like, say, to arrange a group call. We're going to have think tanks. Yes, that's right. Maybe sort of small ones, but think tanks nonetheless, in order to develop some of our initiatives. So we'll also need access in grid 3 to documents or different types of media projects that we're looking at or want to actually create later. But this is more or less the raw stuff. You're looking at things that we would actually use to create presentations. And that would include video presentations, initiatives that people put together, or we find various documents in different phases for the initiative, PowerPoint presentations, webinars, brochures, charts, different components of what we're talking about that we will use in conjunction with our presentations. Now, grid 4 is the presentations itself, and these will be to elected officials, to the membership or parts of the membership, government agencies, potential candidates for office, top media executives, broadcasters, top corporate executives, corporate managers. So these presentations will be for the people that we actually want to deal with. And then after the presentation, grid 5, we would follow up to try and see if we've accomplished something or what more we have to do. Now, in order to get everything done, we're going to need a lot of different resources or access to resources. Forms and applications, like, for instance, political candidacy applications, petition forms, recall applications, registration to vote. Then we have to have, social activism video guides. How do you register to vote? How do you create initiatives? How do you solicit potential candidates? The campaign ABCs, primary election procedures, general election procedures, corporate lobbying, correspondence formalities, and etiquette. So a lot of this is basically being trained in-house and out-of-house guides to how we can go about doing this. A lot of this we'll set up ourselves. We need a library of all kinds of environmental laws connected with the U.S. Constitution, the Constitution itself, and the Declaration, of course. Federalist Papers, UN Declaration of Human Rights is another example, Security Council rules, procedures and resolutions, international law treaties, all kinds of stuff that we will need in order to be able to talk to people in these different areas. FCC regulations for media, all kinds of business law, particularly maybe, SEC regulations. Then we will give courses in activism, corporate lobbying, rights to health and safety, history of human rights, masonry and the founding of the republic, the state of human rights, history of regime change. We're going to look at the kind of real general background you need to be able to be literate in this area. So let's go into the process, how we use this thing. Step one, a member would formulate an objective idea and approach to target the right people using the master grid. And so he's formulating his objective or her objective. And then you got to figure out what contacts you're going to need. Step three, what kind of groups will be involved to implement this objective. Then you're going to create and finalize a document or media project that you need. And then you're going to actually make the presentation. And you're going to respond and figure out what's actually happened.